There's a way of looking at the world that doesn't appear in any manual. It's not something you learned in school or that someone clearly taught you. It's almost as if your body and mind have developed, without you realizing it, a silent ability to connect things that seem loose in the air. You see half a sentence and already know how it ends. You hear 3 words in a conversation and you already piece together the whole story behind them. You notice a subtle change in someone's tone of voice and a whole context unfolds in your head. If you're like this, you might have thought it's normal, that everyone does it. But that's not quite the case. This ability to connect invisible dots, to read between the lines that others don't even know exist, to assemble mental puzzles in seconds, that's not common. It's a superpower, and you may possess it without ever having given it due value, or even thinking it was just a habit of overthinking. But the truth is that your body and mind learn to function this way for a reason. And understanding this can completely change how you see yourself. This video is not a diagnosis. We're not going to label anyone. It's just a calm space for you to recognize, perhaps for the first time, a way of being that has always been there, hidden within your way of perceiving things. If any part of this behavior seems familiar to you, share it in the comments. This is a quiet space to recognize yourself and better understand your own superpowers. The way the body recognizes hidden patterns that others ignore without conscious effort. Some people walk into a room and all they see is chairs, tables, and people chatting. You walk in and, without meaning to, you've already noticed who's uncomfortable, who forced a smile, which conversation is tense even though it seems light. It's not that you're analyzing on purpose. It's that your body has learned to pick up signals that go unnoticed by most people. As if there were an internal radar working all the time, even when you just wanted to relax. This way of perceiving doesn't come from mental effort. It comes from a deeper, almost instinctive place. Your body developed this sensitivity at some point in your life, perhaps to protect itself, perhaps to better understand the environment around it. And now it works automatically. You don't flip a switch to activate it. It simply happens. And sometimes it's even tiring because you'd like to turn it off, but you don't know how. The interesting thing is that this isn't paranoia. It's not insecurity. It's sensory intelligence. Your body has learned to read invisible patterns like someone reading an open book. And when you understand what it is, it ceases to be a burden and becomes a powerful tool. Because while others need time to understand the atmosphere of a place, you already know. And that puts you steps ahead in situations that require quick perception. How the silent mind connects scattered pieces of information while the body remains in apparent rest. On the outside, you might be standing still, sitting on the sofa, lying in bed, waiting for the bus, looking out the window. But inside, there's constant movement. Your mind is piecing together fragments of conversations you overheard during the day, phrases someone said last week, details that seemed unimportant at the time. And suddenly, everything falls into place. You understand something that no one explained directly, as if the pieces had organized themselves. This process is silent. There's no announcement. You don't sit down and decide, now I'm going to connect the dots. It simply happens. It could be in the shower, in the supermarket queue, before bed. Your body is still, but your mind is weaving an invisible web of meanings and connections. And when the conclusion arrives, it arrives fully formed. Not as doubt, but as silent certainty. You just know. and often you can't even properly explain how you got there. This might seem strange to those who don't function this way, but for you, it's natural. It's part of how you process the world. And the curious thing is that this ability to connect disparate pieces of information while the body rests is a rare type of intelligence. It's not laziness. It's not distraction. It's deep mental work happening in the background. And when you understand this, you begin to respect these moments of apparent pause more. The natural way in which the eyes capture invisible details in conversations, environments, or other people's stories. You're in a conversation. The person is talking about their weekend, about work, about something that seems simple. But as they speak, you notice things they didn't say, the awkward pause before a word, the way they looked away when mentioning someone, the subtle change in tone when touching on a specific subject. Your eyes pick up all of this without you even asking, and suddenly you know there's more to the story than meets the eye. It's not that you're investigating, it's not distrust, it's that your body has learned to pay attention to what lingers on the edges of speech, to what leaks out unintentionally, and this happens everywhere. At a party, you notice who's there but would rather be somewhere else. In a meeting, you sense when someone agrees just out of politeness. At the supermarket, you notice someone's nervous rush in line. Details that most people ignore because they don't interfere with their routine. But you see them and you register them, even unintentionally. This type of attention might seem exaggerated, but it's actually refined. It's as if your eyes have been trained to read what's hidden, what no one says aloud. And when you recognize this as a superpower and not as a flaw or excess, everything changes, because you stop blaming yourself for overthinking and start valuing this subtle reading of reality. It's a form of intelligence that few develop, and you have it. If you've noticed this way of reacting in yourself or someone close to you, right, this sounds like me. This helps this video reach more people who think and feel similarly. The automatic way, the brain assembles puzzles without you asking permission. You don't need to sit down and force your brain to work. It's already doing that on its own all the time. Someone mentions a problem, and before they've even finished explaining, your mind has already started putting the pieces together. It's already seeing possible causes, consequences, and paths that could unfold. It's not a conscious effort. It's as if there's an internal mechanism that never shuts off each you walk. And often it works so fast that you're surprised by your own conclusions. This process happens while you're doing other things. You're washing dishes and suddenly you understand why that situation at work got awkward. You're driving and you realize the connection between two things that seemed separate. You're watching something on TV and your mind has already drawn a parallel with real life. Your brain doesn't wait for your permission, it just goes. And sometimes this even gets in the way because you wanted to rest, but your mind keeps gathering information, making connections, solving problems that nobody asked you to solve. But here's the point, this isn't restlessness. It's not unwarranted anxiety, it's the ability to synthesize. It's the skill to organize chaos in seconds. And when you accept that your brain works this way, that it assembles puzzles automatically, you stop fighting it. You learn to use this mental speed to your advantage. And you realize that while others need time to process, you've already seen the whole picture. This isn't common, it's rare, and it's powerful. How did this body learn to read between the lines to protect itself from surprises or deception. At some point in your life, you learn that not everything is as it seems, that people say one thing, but their bodies say another, that a sentence can have two meanings, that silence sometimes screams louder than a word, and your body has deeply ingrained this. It has developed a kind of automatic filter, a sensor that stays on all the time, reading what hasn't been said. Not because you're suspicious, but because you've learned that paying attention to what's implied saves you from unpleasant surprises. This may have started early. Perhaps you needed to understand someone's mood before speaking, or you learned to recognize when it was time to be quiet, or you picked up on the fact that certain compliments came with hidden demands. Your body was trained by experience. And now, even when you don't want it to, it continues to do this. It reads gestures, pauses, tones of voice. It identifies when something isn't right, and it warns you. Sometimes subtly, sometimes with a tightness in your chest or an unease you can't explain. The interesting thing is that this ability, which began as protection, has become emotional intelligence. You're not naive. It's not because you distrust everything, but because you perceive layers. And this gives you an advantage in situations where others would be caught off guard. You've seen the signs before. You've read between the lines, and when you understand that this isn't a flaw, but a survival mechanism that has become a superpower, you start to trust more in what your body tells you. The way to anticipate problems or solutions while others are still processing the basic information. Have you ever noticed that you often know where a situation is going even before it fully unfolds? Someone is describing a problem, and halfway through the story, you've already envisioned 3 possible outcomes. You're in a meeting, and while people are still discussing the basics, you've already identified the problem and how to fix it. It's not guesswork. It's not luck. It's just that your mind processes things too quickly. It takes the initial data and projects the rest, as if you were a few steps ahead on the same path that others are just beginning to tread. This can create a strange feeling. Sometimes you get impatient, wanting to get straight to the point. But the people around you are still figuring out the beginning. Other times you stay silent because you know that if you speak now, they'll think you're skipping steps or complicating things. But the truth is, you're not complicating things. You're just seeing further ahead. Your brain makes connections at high speed and anticipates scenarios that others will only perceive later. And this can be lonely because you see things that aren't yet visible to most people. But when you recognize this as a type of intelligence, everything becomes clearer. You're not anxious, you're not paranoid, you just have a different mental time. And this ability to anticipate is valuable. In crisis situations, you already have a plan. In moments of decision, you've already seen the risks. While others react, you've already acted. And that's no small thing. It's a superpower that can save time, avoid problems, and open paths that no one else was seeing yet. The silent speed with which you close gaps in reasoning that leave others lost. There are times when someone is explaining something and, mid-sentence, loses their train of thought. They forget a detail, skip a part, leave a gap. And while the person is trying to remember or complete their thought, you've already filled in the empty space. You've already understood what was missing. You've already closed the line of reasoning that was left open. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because your mind can't stand gaps. It fills them in automatically. as if it had a natural impulse to organize what's loose, to give meaning to what seems incomplete. This happens in conversations, in stories, in movies, in news. Someone tells you half the story, and you already know the other half. You read 3 lines of text, and you've already grasped the whole idea. You hear the beginning of an explanation, and you've already arrived at the end on your own. Your brain doesn't wait for all the information to arrive. It goes looking for it. It fills in the gaps. It connects the dots. And it does this at a speed you don't even realize. It's only when you speak aloud and see the surprise in other people's eyes that you realize you were already 3 steps ahead. This ability can confuse those who don't function this way. Sometimes they think you're guessing or that you're not paying attention properly. But it's quite the opposite. You're paying too much attention. So much so that you can see what's missing and fill in the gaps immediately. And when you understand this, you stop blaming yourself for getting ahead or interrupting people. You just process things differently. And this silent speed of filling in gaps is a type of intelligence that puts you ahead in situations that require quick and precise thinking. How your mind transforms fragments of the day into complete mental maps without you even noticing. At the end of the day, you might be tired, wanting only to switch off. But even so, your mind keeps working. It's reviewing everything that happened. That quick conversation in the elevator, a colleague's casual comment, someone's expression in traffic, things that seemed unimportant at the time, and suddenly, while you're resting there, your mind puts it all together and creates a map. You understand the atmosphere. You perceive the dynamics between people. You see recurring patterns, as if the loose fragments of the day had organized themselves into a complete picture. This process isn't conscious. You don't sit down and decide to put this puzzle together. It simply assembles itself. Your mind picks up scattered pieces of information and builds a picture. And when you least expect it, that insight comes. That clear understanding of something that was previously confusing. You can't explain exactly how you got there, but you know you're right. Because your mind did the invisible work of connecting dots that no one else was paying attention to. This might seem normal to you, but it's not. Most people live through the day and let things pass by. They don't hold on to the fragments. They don't create maps. You do this naturally. And this ability to transform the chaos of daily life into mental clarity is a gift. It's like having a panoramic view of life, while others only see the isolated moment. And when you recognize this, you realize that this mind that never shuts off isn't a problem. Itegate satul. It's a superpower of internal organization that gives you a deeper understanding of everything around you. If this explanation has made things clearer about your personality, please comment. Now I understand better. Your participation strengthens this self-awareness community. The superpower of seeing hidden connections that reveal truths before they are spoken. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt something was wrong, but no one had said anything yet? Or realized that two people had a history before anyone even told them? Or understood the real reason behind a decision that everyone thought was simple? This happens because you don't just look at the surface. You see the invisible lines that connect things. You see relationships between seemingly separate events. You identify hidden causes. And often, what you perceive ends up being confirmed later. People say, "Wow, how did you know?" And you can't even open it properly. Ujuknyu. These hidden connections aren't written anywhere. There's no manual, no map. But for you, they become clear. It's as if you have an X-ray vision of reality, able to see through appearances. And this doesn't come from distrust or paranoia. It comes from a natural ability to piece together information that's scattered in the air. A gesture here, a word there, a silence over there, and suddenly everything makes sense. The truth reveals itself to you before it's spoken aloud. And this gives you a kind of knowledge that others will only have later, when everything has already happened. This superpower can be uncomfortable at times because you see things you'd rather not see, but it's also what protects you, what guides you, what gives you an advantage in complex situations. You don't need to wait for things to become obvious. You've already seen them. You've already understood them. And when you accept this as part of your nature, you stop doubting your perceptions. You trust what you see, even when no one else is seeing it yet. And that is powerful. The rare mental strength to connect invisible dots and transform chaos into instant clarity. Some people get lost in confusing situations. They don't know where to begin. They can't separate what matters from what's just noise, but not you. You enter the chaos and, in a few seconds, you're already organizing everything in your head. You've already identified what's essential. You've already seen the hidden order in the mess. You've already transformed that pile of loose information into a clear line of reasoning. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's that your mind has a rare ability to find patterns where others only see disorder, to connect points that no one knew were related, and to do it quickly, instantly. This mental strength works in every area of life. At work, when a project is stalled and no one knows what to do, you've already seen the way. In relationships, when an argument seems pointless, you've already understood the root of the problem. In important decisions, when everyone is in doubt, you've already connected the dots and know which direction to take. Your brain doesn't get lost in the confusion. It cuts through. It organizes. It transforms chaos into clarity. And it does so with a speed that impresses those around you, even if you don't realize how special that is. What makes this a true superpower is its rarity. Few people can do what you do. Few have this ability to see the invisible, to connect the unconnected, to bring light where there was only confusion. And when you finally recognize this not as an obsession, not as a control freak, but as a unique form of intelligence, everything changes. You stop belittling yourself. You stop thinking that everyone thinks like that. And you begin to value this mind that transforms loose ends into complete maps. This body that reads the world in a way that few can. This is not common. This is rare. And this is yours. If you've made it this far and recognized this way of working in yourself, know that you're not alone. Many people possess this ability to connect invisible dots, to read between the lines, to transform fragments into complete understanding. And for a long time, you may have found this burdensome, tiring, or even excessive. But the truth is, it was never a flaw. It was always a strength. It was always a rare type of intelligence that the world needs, but doesn't always recognize or value in the right way. Understanding this changes everything, because when you stop fighting against your own way of being and begin to accept that your mind works differently, faster, deeper, more connected, you stop demanding so much of yourself. You stop thinking you should be simpler, lighter, more like everyone else. And you start using this ability to your advantage, not as a problem, but as a superpower. And then you realize that this body that reads invisible signals, this mind that assembles puzzles on its own, this way of anticipating and understanding before others, all of this has always been guiding you, protecting you, putting you ahead. The most important thing is to know that you don't need to explain this to everyone. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to convince anyone that you see what you see. You just need to recognize it in yourself. You just need to trust what your body and mind show you. And when you do that, you'll realize that this superpower of connecting with the invisible isn't just your way of understanding the world. It's your way of navigating it with a clarity that few possess. And that, when you truly accept it, transforms into your greatest strength. Have you ever noticed this type of behavior in yourself or someone you care about? Share your experience in the comments. Sometimes, just reading similar stories makes us feel much less alone. If you enjoy content that reveals the hidden superpowers in your personality, subscribe to the channel. Here, we look at common daily habits with a calmer, deeper, and more human perspective.